Hopefully everybody can hear me. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Scoot over a little bit. Yeah, I've been trying to figure out what I'm gonna do for this content that I got. So hopefully should eventually show that we're live. Yeah, there we go. Good. That's what I was shooting for. We'll see how it goes. For some reason, no matter what I do. How's it going, Hazel? Nice to see you. How's your day going? Well, actually, how did your day go? Moist Electricity, how's it going? Raya, how you doing? I'm doing well. Got through the holidays in one piece. How did your holidays go? Good. That's awesome. Sometimes the holidays can be tough to navigate, right? Sometimes it can be a little rough. Hey, thank you. Appreciate it. The Dutra family, hopefully I said that right. How you doing, Raya? Yeah, it's we had a bunch of snow, and it's actually locked in some cold air, and now it's really cold outside. How you doing, John? How you doing, Keith? How's it going? Nice to see everybody. This one game. Oh, you're invaded Poland and Rome. Okay, gotcha. Jesper, how you doing? Nice to see you. Thanks for the likes, everybody. I appreciate it. I haven't did a live stream in quite some time. I wanted to really use my microphone and see how it goes. Trying to make things a little easier for myself to, keep adding content to the stream or to the channel. So RVA, RVA-vation? I don't know how to say that. No. I'm actually using a different tripod as well. Hopefully it works well. Which Frankfurt do you mean? You're talking about like Frankfurt in like Frankfurt, Germany. Hey, Aiden. Oh, you mean like Frankfurt, Kentucky? Yo, Aiden. Oh, okay. Hey, happy birthdays, Justice. Happy birthday to you. How old are you? Are you 21 again? You're 10? Well, happy birthday. Thanks for joining the stream. No, no, I haven't. I've never watched Squid Game before. No, I haven't. What's it about? I mean, I've heard of Squid Game, but I have no idea what it's about. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, I'm kind of old, so I don't get all the hip jokes. That's awesome, James. Good for you. God bless you. My Mario back there, he looks a little squished back there. Yeah, I actually picked up Mario, the plush. I actually picked up Mario at the Goodwill. Hey, Bubble. He actually picked up Mario at the Goodwill. He was sitting right on top. And for $3, I couldn't pass him up. And he's perfectly he's brand new. He's brand new. He doesn't smell funny. He doesn't have any spots on him or anything. I paid $3 for Mario. I got a few Mario figures up there. A couple Mario figures next to Mario up there as well. Yeah, one person's trash is another person's treasure. Yeah. I have a few cool ones I like. I really like Mario. Yeah, I like Game Boy. Yeah, I haven't played on a Game Boy in a really long time though, I'll be honest. I haven't played on a Game Boy in, I don't know, probably 20 years. There's some really cool new uh, I guess modded Game Boy Advance that you can buy. See you, Raya. Have a good one. Yeah, there's some. Let me see if I can find it for you. It's like a Game Boy Advance, but it has an upgraded screen. And I forget the name, but you can buy the screen, and the screen is like an OLED screen. It is pretty impressive. It is very much impressive. Let me see if I can find it. Original Game Boy, I would say buy it if you kind of want to relive Game Boy. but I would probably only buy like a modded Game Boy with a new screen. But that's it. I was gonna see if I could find one with a backlit screen. I forget the name of it. Funny Plane. That's it. Funny Plane IPS LCD screen. So you can look up Funny Plane Game Boy. And they have a kit that you can buy. You can check that out. That's probably what I would go for. But I haven't live streamed in a really long time, so figured I'd at least check it out for a while, see if I'd see any old viewers that I remember. I remember Raya. Raya always comes in the channel when I stream. Who else did we have? I think James. I've seen you before. I've seen Aiden before as well. And Hazel. Yeah, I think I've seen all of them before. If I could go back to being a teen, what would I do differently? I would probably make sure that I wasn't doing anything that hurt God. And what I mean by that is I did a lot of mean things to people, and I did a lot of things that I knew was wrong, and I did it anyway, just for the sake of doing it. And I really look back on those, and I wish I could have just said, you know what, I wish I wouldn't have done that, because it didn't do me any good. Yes, it gave me, I guess the experience of knowing what's right and what's wrong, but I probably could have done without it. Also, picking better friends. I probably would have picked better friends. I had a lot of friends that weren't good friends. That's a good question. Because they always say things like, show me your closest friends and I'll show you who you are. And that really resonates now that I'm older. I don't have as many friends that I did back in the day. You're always, when you're a teenager, you're always trying to get friends. You're always worrying about being by yourself or not having any friends. And now it's, I have church friends, but that's about it. I don't have friends that I like hang out with or anything like that. I'm married, so I don't, try to have friends outside of my wife. Hey, Raya, welcome back. See, I told you, Raya is always one of those people that come to my live streams. I can always count on a few. There's always a few names that I always remember that always come to my streams. What do you guys think about my new, no, it's all good. You don't have to be religious to hang out with me. What do you guys think of this new microphone? Does it sound all right? Trying to do little upgrades. It's got to be better than the iPhone microphone, right? I did some recording the other day when the snow was coming down, and I did one recording where I actually had the phone in the house and it was recording me, but I was outside of the house with the microphone on, and it sounds amazing. It sounds really cool. Thanks, Raya. I appreciate that. But yeah, James, I'll be honest. I know people throw around that term religious a lot. I'm not really religious. I have a relationship with Jesus, but I'm not really religious because religion is, I find religion very, I find it very dangerous. So I'm not very religious. So I don't have a lot of worldly religion things that a lot of people do. Because you have a lot of things that, religious people do, and it's not always a good thing. Because if you think about the religious people in the Bible, were like the Pharisees. Those were the religious people, those ones that, they knew what the Bible said, or they knew what Scripture said, but they had Jesus standing right in front of them, and they had no idea who he was and what his purpose was. And that's scary. I don't ever want to be that person, I look back and I never want to be that person. Same goes for, if you read the Bible, you see these stories that really, kind of resonate with yourself. And that's why it's so great to read the Bible, is you get to see stories of regular people. They're not perfect. And he says, a rich man walks up to him and he says, leave everything behind and follow me. And the rich man couldn't do it. And it said he wept and walked away. And I think about that a lot too. Would I have done the same thing? I hope not. But that's why we read the Bible, No, it shows a couple people in here. I don't know who the couple people are, but I don't mind talking to one or two people. It doesn't bother me. I don't have to have 1,000 people in my chat. What makes you afraid? If you don't mind me asking. Do you go by James or do you go by Jim? Or Jimmy? I have a brother named Jimmy. No, I was asking James, does he go by Jim or Jimmy or Jimothy? I have a brother named Jim. The limitations of the brain. So you're scared to read the Bible because the limitations of the brain? You have to explain that to me. Yeah, somebody said something about my hoodie earlier. My hoodie's pretty old. This is a pretty old hoodie. I think this is like a hand-me-down hoodie. I think it's one of those hoodies someone gave me, and I just wear it because it's comfortable. What's your do you play any video games, Raya, or James? You guys see all my Mario stuff up there? I got some Funko Pops up there too. More of I guess more of a talking piece than anything. I can show them to you if you can't see any of them. I don't mind giving a tour. Pretty sure I can give a tour. Anybody played Earthbound before? Wow, they're telling me the temperature is going to be -1. Is that tomorrow? Oh man. Thursday the 9th, it's supposed to be -1. -1. Goodness, that's cold. Man, oh man. -1 is super cold. -1 stuff when you're like trying to keep the house warm. I don't think so. If you're talking about the limitations of the brain, I think that wouldn't help you, because that's the problem with Darwin's theory, is that he's thinking like a human. You know, one of the things that's really it's really got my mind going is thinking about how God sees everything. And it was kind of prompted. I started thinking about it a lot when I watched a video and they were talking about, you know, I'm a big like Marvel, DC comic fan. And a lot of their storylines are built on the multiverse. And there's a really good, I don't know if, I guess I call it a theory, or theologians have talked about when Moses talks to God on the mountain. They believe at that same time that he's talking to Moses, he's also talking to Elijah on a different mountain at different times, but at the same time. So God is in one place, which God is outside of time, but he's speaking to Elijah and Moses at different parts of time at the same time. So it got me thinking about how God looks at the world and us and time, because God is outside the realm of time. So he doesn't have time. So we're the ones that have time, right? So you have to picture, so if you're looking at your kitchen table, okay? You're sitting at your kitchen table and everything on it, okay? And you're just looking at your kitchen table, whether you have stuff, plates, whatever on it, or it just could be empty, entirely up to you. But I want you to just picture your kitchen table and all the surface is past, present, and future. That is how God sees time. Everything's in front of him all at once. And that's where we try to sit and fathom the beginning, because, a lot of, Darwin believed that, he believed in the theory of evolution, and that was, we didn't come from apes. We were created. It's like if I grab this remote control for my TV and I looked at you and I said, James, this came out of nothing, you would think I was crazy, wouldn't you? Yeah, you would. You would think I was a nutso. You'd be like, AE, you are crazy. That remote control was made by someone. Because everything is created, right? So we, as human beings, are way more intricate than this, right? We are way more intricate than this. We can heal. If I broke this remote control, it wouldn't heal itself. But if I scratched myself and I bled and I put a Band-Aid over the scratch, in a couple days it would heal. It wouldn't do that with this remote control, right? So we were created by something, because nothing cannot come from nothing. So you have nothing and nothing. Nothing can't make something, right? And something can't come from nothing, right? And then some people say, oh, well, when you die, where do you go? And you go to nothing. Okay. And if you think of it this way about your birds, talking about the finches with different beaks based on the type of foods they eat, there's scripture that says the birds don't worry about what they have to eat, and they don't store things up in barns like we do, because they know that the God created them would take care of them. So maybe it isn't they don't have different beaks based on the types of food that they eat. What about they already had those beaks, and the food that's there for them is local to where that bird is from? And that's really what you got to look at. Because there's all been different kinds. There's been the dodo bird. Go back in time and look at the dodo bird. Our lives have a beginning and an end, correct. But we've been created by something. We were created by something. Something so intricate as we are as human beings, how could we come from nothing? To me, that's even harder to fathom than a creator. That's where you can't lean on your own understanding. That's where you have to understand that you are locked into the way humans think. That's a human thought. That's not a God thought. Can you fathom in your mind that God is outside the realm of time? That he doesn't fall into time? Because it says in the Bible that a day is like 1,000 years and 1,000 years is like a day to God. So he's outside of the realm of matter, time, and space. So he doesn't have to fall into those because he created all of that. Because if you have to, even if you think about it like this, and obviously I'm just kind of trying to think outside the box. Isn't it more likely that a creator is gravity because we know that gravity made the planet spherical? To me, it's knowing that there's a great creator that has a pattern for everything. Because we didn't create science, right? We discovered science. Science was already there. It was already written. How do you get all of these things to happen? How do you get a eclipse to happen? I mean, you're talking about perfect lineup and be able to watch an eclipse. That can't be by accident. You can't have a sun in the center and all of these planets just spinning around them. And our Earth right now, as we're sitting on it, is moving at like 1,000 miles an hour or something. But here I am. I don't feel sick. I don't feel nauseated. I'm just far enough away from the sun that I'm not burning and I'm not frozen. I get just enough water on Earth to have rain, to have crops to eat. That's all, those are all things that you can't sit here and tell me that it was all by accident. I can't believe it. And how are we not flying away? You know what I mean? The creator theory needs to be supported with scientific evidence. Can't you just look outside? Isn't that your scientific evidence? How can you take someone's word how can you take Charles Darwin's words and think that just because he said it, that's one person? He didn't have like a team of scientists that came up with his theory. He did it on his own. So you're going to sit and think about one person and you're going to then put it against the Bible that's lived for thousands of years? That's even crazier thought. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying, I want you have the freedom to believe whatever you want to. But, I sit and think of like, how in the world, if I believed that I just came out of nothing, then if I think about this hard enough, think about this remote, I would really like to have a second remote. So if I think about it, can it just happen? Or can this remote like evolve into like some kind of like AI something? You know what I mean? Like over 1,000 years, this just turned into something, a person? Or what about like I have a dead flower in here that I'm trying to get to come alive. I don't think it's going to come to life ever again. But what if this flower like turns into something, and it's even when a flower's alive, it's like a living organism that takes on like photosynthesis and all kinds of stuff. But we can kill it quite easily. But there'll always be another flower or another tree, or those are all things that. And then you start thinking about, I've read a lot about the the flood. So when Noah had the flood and it washed everything, what happened before the flood? And that was one thing that really captivated me, thinking about how that was, what happened, what did the earth look like? Because before the flood, what they say that there were like gemstones and all kinds of things that was literally on top of the ground. Like all the things that we think are gemstones, like like I don't know, emeralds and diamonds and gold and all that stuff, was literally, they say, that was just sitting on the ground, and the flood is actually what washed it all away. But they have, you can go back and see the Dead Sea Scrolls, and you can actually convert it from its original text into English if you want to. You can actually go and do that right now if you wanted to. So they have the, Dead Sea Scrolls and all of those manuscripts all put together. And they've all been validated by tens of thousands of people over the years. And no, it's really just going to come to you as something that, I always tell people, I'm like, they'll tell me, well, Andy, why do you believe the Bible? And one, it's no different than, I would say, how do you believe what you believe? Or how do you believe a history book? You look at the history book and you say, okay, that sounds like something that I can stand on, and there's going to be a time in your life where that's true. It's going to be a time in your life where it's a conviction. It's something that's like, you know what, this is what I believe, and that's really what happened to me. I looked at what the Bible has. I looked at what it brought me, and it also brought me a lot of blessings in my life, a lot of wisdom in my life, and those are things that I don't think brought me the same thing in a history book. The Bible brought me much more. But those are things that I had to think about, and you'll have time. At least I hope so. And I pray that you do have time to make that decision on your own. But that's what makes God so great, is that He is a God that gives you free will. Because God doesn't force you to believe in Him. That's what makes Him a loving God. Because it's not a tyranny. He says, you get the choice. Is he fair? Yeah, he's just. Yeah, he's just. It's like, think about it this way, if someone came to your house and killed your family member, wouldn't you want that person that killed your family member, wouldn't you want them to go to jail for what they've done? And that's what God does. And people say a lot of things like, is God fair because he creates, murderers and all those things? But those are, God doesn't want that, but that's free will. That's man's ability to think on their own. And those are the choices. But how do you define non-believer? That's the biggest question. Non-believer for me is a person that has been handed all of the evidence for God and has given the choice of who God is, and that they can either follow God or not follow God. And those people say that I do not want to follow him and I want to be apart from him. That's really the biggest choice. I'm not really scared of fiery hell as much as I'm scared of being separated from God forever. So that's the biggest thing that I think about, is not so much the fiery hell, is being separated from God for eternity. That scares me the most. Because he's God. It's not, if it's all about your works or what you're good, if you're good to others, but you don't worship the God that created you. What about, say, your mom? So what if you had your mother and you looked at your mother and said, you created me, but I hate you? I mean, that's pretty much what you're saying, is God created you. He put you on earth, and you have all the evidence. I could sit here and read the Bible to you, but it's still your choice. And I'm not going to sit here and judge you. I'm actually told in the Bible that I can't judge you if you're a non-believer. I can't judge you. I can't put you under the same, I can't put you under the same law as I would someone that does believe in God. Because he made us to worship him. I think that's the biggest thing, is he made us to worship him. And that's the important part. And we have all the time. He's not going to rip anybody off. If you think about it, sometimes there's people, a lot of people believe, and so do I, is that there's going to be, when I get to heaven, there's going to be a ton of little kids in heaven, because there's a lot of little babies that don't get the chance to ever know who Jesus is. But God brings them into eternity with him. Yeah, but you keep saying religion, and I'm not religious. Unquestionable belief? Do you say that I never have doubts? Because that's not true. I have bad days. I actually had a bad day today, to be honest with you. Yeah, but think of the things that you have faith in yourself. Even though you don't have faith in the same God that I do, you might have faith in someone. What if you have faith in something else? You're made in a certain way that you're going to do the same things to something else instead of God, because that's the way that you're created. We're actually created as worshipers. So if we don't worship God, we're going to worship something else. But some people worship all kinds of things. Some people worship people. Some people worship all kinds of stuff. And that's been known since the beginning of time. So if you think about, there's tons of stories, if you ever get the chance to read the Bible, there's tons of stories where they worship all kinds of things. They worship the golden calf, and they worship all these different gods. They worship Molech. Molech was a god that they created into a statue where it was like a big giant furnace. In the furnace, it was a statue that was made out of metal, and it had a furnace where they would heat it up underneath it, and then the statue had hands. So if you think of it like this, and the statue had hands, so what would happen is, because it was made out of a metal, it conducted heat, right? So they would heat it up with wood and a fire, and they would make it really, really hot. And as the statue would get hotter and hotter, it would transfer the heat to the hands, and they would actually have a human sacrifice, and they would actually place their children on the hands of this statue called Molech, and it would melt them. And that's what they believed. They believed that they were worshiping this god Molech. But because we are created as worshipers, we either worship God or we worship something else. And some people, they worship all kinds of things, sadly. But I appreciate your questions. I think they're great questions. But those are the things I think get answered as you read the Bible. Because the more you read it, the easier it is to comprehend all of the things that you're asking. Like every question that you've asked, I've asked too. I asked all those questions when I was younger. I asked all of them. And as I read the Bible more, the answers came. No, because if you look at scientific evidence, look at the eruption of Mount St. Helens. That's a really good one. Lots of evidence there. They proved that measuring the Earth's crust is not a good way to measure its age. They were able to create thousands of years, if not tens of thousands of years, of crust layers in the matter of hours in the eruption of Mount St. Helens. So what they did was, these scientists, they took all of these, because as the eruption happened, the lava would come out, right, of the volcano or the eruption, whatever, the magma came out of the earth, and then it would dry, and then more would come and it would dry, more would come and it would dry, and then it also had, I believe, water as well that was cooling it. And they took this evidence of, they didn't tell these other scientists where it was from, and they took it to them and said, measure this, measure how long this is, how much time this is. And they said, it was 2 million years or something. And they said, well, that's odd because it happened in a matter of 60 minutes in the eruption of Mount St. Helens. So those are all things that you have to also fathom, that when God created the earth, He created it with age. Just like He created a man and a woman, they were fully adult when He created them. Yeah, I saw it. That was a good one. That was a good joke. I can't even receive super chats. I wish I could, but I can't. That's how I knew it wasn't $12 because I can't receive super chats yet. Maybe one day. There's a really good James. There's a really good guy that makes some really good books. His name is Ken Ham. I've been reading his books since I was probably 10 or 12 years old. But he is a creationist, and he will give you scientific evidence. So if you need scientific evidence, you go look up Ken Ham, and he will give you all the scientific evidence that you need. I promise you that. How am I supposed to say your name? Is it Arvivation? Arvivation? You're going to have to tell me how to pronounce it. Is there any football on tonight? It's Tuesday, probably not. Yep. I know what you mean. Yeah, many do. Well, the thing that I had to come to grips with is that, one of the things that the Bible tells us is that we have to be able to defend it. And I want to be able to defend it, and I want to be able to defend it in a way that I don't push people away. A lot of times what happens is you have people like me, and then you have people like you. And I never want to push someone like you away. I want to be able to have a conversation. You know what I mean? I want to be able to have a conversation and talk to you. Because what's worse, trying to convince someone of something but not listening to what they have to say or the questions that they have, and just saying, just follow it. Just follow it. Don't worry about what it is, just follow it. You're not going to win people over that way. And I really believe that. I really believe that there's no way we're going to be able to win people over to Christ by being closed-minded. I want someone to be able to come to me and say, "Hey, I have some really big questions here." I think that's awesome. And those questions, I don't have all the answers. You know what I mean? I don't. And sometimes I will go back and I will read, I'll make sure that I have the answer the next time. Because, like I said earlier, there's people that come into my chat that, I've seen them before. And I hope that I'll have another chance to talk to you sometime. You really do. Yeah, you really do. I agree with that. Because, I was blessed enough that I had a mom and a dad that, they pushed really hard to make sure that I was in the right place at the right time, to have, as a Christian, as my parents were Christians, they really fully believed in reaping and sowing. And they were always sowing seeds in me. And sorry, my monitor's just turned off. But they were always sowing into me. They were always sowing seeds. And, my mom passed away like almost 10 years ago. And they're still reaping from her sowing. All the things that she was planting in me, is still coming to fruition today. So those are all things that I think about as well. You really have to really think outside the box. And that's why I wanted to explain to you how I looked, how I thought about how God looks at everything. If you look at, the front of, well, I always use the kitchen table, but you can look at anything, You can look at, here's my Bible, and if you look at the whole front of this Bible, from front to back, or just the front of it. This is past, present, and future. That's how God sees past, present, and future, you know. And that's hard to fathom as a human being, you know, to think of that, because he can see the past, he can see what's going on now, and he can see what the future holds all at the same time. And that's really crazy to try to figure that out and think in that in that thought process, because I'm so human, you know. So, but I try to think, you know, when I pray, I try to pray bigger prayers outside of, you know, what I am, you know, and not think like a human when I pray. Yeah, I had a tough time when my mom died. She had breast cancer. And my mom didn't make it to retirement. She thought she was going to, but she never did. So I feel you. I feel you. So it makes me live my life a little differently too. So, you know, time isn't guaranteed. I probably should have dealt with my life a little differently when she passed away, but I kind of went into a tailspin myself. Yeah, sorry to hear about your mom. If you don't mind, do you mind if I pray for your mom? Awesome. I want to pray for her right now. Father God, we just pray right now for our friend James. His mom is not well. She has a bad lung disease, and he doesn't think that she's going to get any better, Lord. But we want to bring you glory, Lord. And we just want to ask for your mercy. And we pray that he will bring her healing and show James just what kind of God you are, and that you're the God of mercy and healing and love, and that we want to see her live a long life, a life that my mom couldn't live, and that she will, the next time she goes to the hospital, they show that she doesn't have anything whatsoever in her lungs, and her lungs are just as good as it was when she was a young child, Lord. Thank you for being a big God. Thank you for being a God that listens to me and listens to all of your children, Lord. And we just pray for those that don't know who you are. We ask that you surround James with people that can bring him encouragement and bring him the evidence that he needs to know who you are. And Lord, we know that you won't ever force us to believe in you, but we just pray for James and those that might be listening today, that you bring them the people in their lives to point them in the right direction, Lord, and bring them people that will be their hands and feet of Jesus. Lord, thank you for hearing us. Thank you for hearing our prayers. In Jesus' name, amen. So I appreciate you letting me pray for you and for your mom. Yeah, it's not a fun time when you lose a loved one. That's for sure. My dad's still alive, but he's getting older. He'll be 80 this year. But my mom, she only lived to be 60. She died like a month before her 61st birthday. She thought she was gonna retire and do all kinds of traveling, and she never got the chance. But I know someday I'll get to see her again, so that's the part that makes it better. I'll get to see her one day. Yeah. Well, I'm 43, so I'm only 17 years away from that age, so I worry about that too. So I try to do the most with my life that I can while I'm doing it, you know. I know I don't want to work until I'm 60, that's for sure. I hope someday I can retire and enjoy some of the things in life, you know. I want to travel around and talk to people about God too. So I'm hoping one day I can do that. Yeah, I agree. Hey, Raya. Yeah, I agree. I built a desk that I can stand because I work from home. So I built a desk that I can stand up and get some good blood circulation and stuff. That's good. Don't run too many miles though. That was one of the things that Tiger Woods said. Tiger Woods said that he wishes now he wouldn't have ran so many miles. I think he said he would run like 4.5 miles a day or something like that. And he says if he could go back, he would run no more than 1.5 miles a day. Because he believes that those 4 miles a day that he would run is what messed up his joints, his hips and knees and all that stuff. I played a lot of sports when I was young. So we're about the same age, James. But I played a lot of sports. I played a lot of basketball, baseball. I didn't really play football. I'm a tall guy. I played a lot of basketball. Yeah, it messed up his joints. I think that's what Tiger Woods was trying to talk about is your joints only have so many miles on them, you know? Yeah, that's a big deal. Yeah. You got to have recovery days. Yeah, I feel bad for those people that work out like every day and then they get old and then they're like uh no way. No way, Jose. The Boston Celtics are playing the Denver Nuggets. Are you a sports fan, James? What about you, Raya? You a sports fan? Play any sports? $75 minutes per week? Wonder what the average, so 75 minutes a week. I wonder what that breaks down to. So if you can run What's the average mile? What's the average mile? 9 minutes? 10 minutes maybe? Between a fast, I know a fast mile is what, like 6.5 minutes or something, 6 minutes. So if you break that down to say 8 minutes a mile, 9 minutes a mile, how many times does that go into? 8 times? 9 minutes a mile, 8 times, so that's 8 miles a week, roughly. Oh, you're in England, okay. I got a guy that I play games with that's from England. I have a Swedish friend too that I think his mom lives in England. Three miles every other day is not bad. That's not gonna kill you. How fast can you run 3 miles though? What's that come to? When I was in the police academy, I ran, I think I ran a mile and a half. They had us run a mile and a half, and I think I ran it in like 9 minutes or something. 9.5 minutes or something like that. Obviously, I couldn't do 9.5 minutes now. Oh, on a treadmill? Yeah, I got a treadmill too. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, you're in winter right now, like us. It's kind of wintry there right now, isn't it? Yeah, we had snow too. We had like, well, in inches, we had 10 inches roughly. I forget what that comes out to. Well, I think it's getting pretty late here. So I want to try to stream a little bit more. So it was nice seeing you, James. Hope you have a great day tomorrow. Thanks for everybody liking the stream. Appreciate it. Yep. I'll see you next time. Thanks for the subscription. Appreciate it. Take care. God bless you.